Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Draninja Future Card Buddyfight deck profile for post Buddy Ragnarok. With the release of Buddy Ragnarok, we were given some new Draninja support to definitely help with the overall playstyle of the deck, which are to make your ninja clones of Gargantua dragons, summoning out all these different monsters with 6,000 power to either make use of the different ninja arts that we run in the deck, or utilize our Impact Deity Gargantua Punisher. I'm a really big fan of the deck just because of all the different ninja art spells we can run to either supply us with draw power or just the overall playstyle of the Draninja deck that plays very well and similar to the Katana world, clan as a whole. So with that world being our main focus of the deck, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So with our world being Katana world and our main focus being Gargantua Dragon, we had to use the newest of the Deity Gargantua Dragon Revival Buddy, not only for the fact that it lets you use any Gargantua Dragon from all worlds in the deck, so we can also make use of the different Dragon World Gargantua Dragons. It just is a much more powerful buddy because we have the gauge power in the deck to rely on with this card, and just being able to use Deity G-Evo for the multiple attacks we can do with our Gargantua Dragon monsters makes it that much consistent for the playstyle of the deck as a whole. That's why we're running 4 copies of it in total, with the Deity G-Evo also being able to use Gargantua Dragons from our drop zone. We can set them up there that much easier, and then have the option to go into the many different forms of Gargantua Dragon we have for the Katana world and also for the other worlds you can utilize, including, if you wanted to, Legend World and also Star Dragon World, with Gargantua Quasar being a very valid option for any of the other spots you may want. But for this deck, for now only, I'm running 4 of the Deity Gargantua Dragon dual mode. This card, supplies us with draw power, destruction, and just overall power boosts to all of our units on the field. Having move, penetrate, double attack, soul guard, and counter attack makes it that much scarier of a card. And with Deity Gargantua Dragon as our buddy, we're able to use this card in the deck. But if you want to use any of the other worlds for Gargantua Dragon, you can try putting in the Legend World option, Star Dragon World, you name it, and then just taking out copies of dual mode for those ones also. But just this card adds so much consistency. Like I said, draw power, soul guard, and defensive capabilities, you name it. Whatever you need for that situation, dual mode can definitely handle it for sure. For some of the other Gargantua Dragon modes, I also run 2 Gargantua Thunder Deity Wind Demon Dragon. This card has triple attack, and every time it attacks, it makes a Gargantua clone on the field by using the top card of our deck face down. So every time it attacks, you get a token, and then you can restand this card for its next attack with a token. If you have other spots in your field you wish to not make use of, you can just keep on attacking with this card and then attack with the tokens, and then have the pressure built with this card and all the other different tokens you made. It's the one way it benefits more than dual mode, just because dual mode has double attack and the Deity G-Evo, but you can use Deity G-Evo with this card as well, along with the triple attack and each attack from the tokens you summon out onto the field as well. And for some of the one-ups, I run 1 Gargantua Koga Dragon. With this card having Shadow Dive, it makes it that much more consistent of a card to use against your opponent. So you can swing around any monsters and deal some pretty big damage against your opponent, for the fact that it also has double attack. And if you're with G-Evo and this card, when you use this, you draw a card and deal 2 damage to your opponent. So it's just more damage to use altogether with this unit. And I also run 1 Gargantua Wind Demon Dragon, being able to basically call out 2 Gargantua tokens and make it even better if you have G-Evo, because that's how you get the second token, and it's a counter skill. You don't have to attack with this card or anything, so if your opponent has something to stop this card from attacking, you can at least still counter with this card. So if you're expecting cards for your opponent to use to stop your plays, you can rely on Wind Demon Dragon to at least give you the tokens on the field to either defend yourself or get the multiple attacks off. For our other ninja cards that we run in the deck, I am also running 4 Nincat. With this one, when this card enters the field, you may drop a Ninja Arts from your hand, and you have another Deity Dragon on the field. You may drop a hand card. If you do, put the top card of your deck into your gauge, you gain a life and draw a card. So with Nincat, it's all resources. The fact that it has 2 critical just adds for more and more pressure that you can do against your opponent. But I like to run 4 copies of this card just for that option alone, for setting up gauge, draw power, and gaining us life, because we can definitely dwindle through life pretty easily in this deck. That's why I am also running 4 Like the Wind, Nindog. With this card, during your attack phase, put this card from your field into the soul of another Dragon on your field, and when a Dragon on the field attacks, if this card is in the soul of that Dragon, you gain 2 life. So with all the different attacks we can do, and with the tokens that will attack, because they still count as Dragons, especially with our Wind Demon Dragon, you can gain plenty of life, which is what you'll use to stay on the defensive against your opponent, using Like the Wind, Nindog. It's that much more scary of a card, because you can even just potentially put this card into the soul when you call out your deity Gargantua Dragon Revival Buddy, or just, from the field putting into the soul during the attack phase. So you can even attack with Nindog first and then put it into the soul and clear up the field for the other tokens you have, with this card being clear and not having to call over it, or be over the size limit with some of your other cards also. And I also still run the 4 original Nindog. When this card is called out, you can choose any other number of Nindog in your deck and add them either to your hand or set up your gauge. So just with this 1 Nindog on the field, you can set up 3 gauge and have resources set there. Or if you need hand consistency for dropping cards, you can put 2 in there, adding 1 to the hand. It doesn't matter. You choose the combo. But the more you have in your deck to search out, the better. It's why, it really hurts when you search this card out or it's already in the gauge, or if you open up multiples in your hand. But having the 4, there's just that, less chance that it'll happen. So you want to be sure that you have the option to at least search out 1 or 2 of them. But most of the time, with all the practicing I've done, usually I have a good majority of the Nindog, especially early game when I open up, still in the deck. And I also run 2 Knives Ninja Technique Ninbird. What you may only call Knives Ninja Technique Ninbird once per turn. When a Dragon monster enters your field, you may drop a hand card. If you do, you gain 2 life. Look at 3 cards to the top of your deck. Put 1 from among them in the hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And this ability only activates once per turn. So with the preferred cards, also just having Ninbird on the field for setup, it makes it that much easier of a setup card. If you want to run more numbers of this, you can consider taking out the Nindogs, adding in some other ninja arts along with the more copies of Ninbirds. But you can only call out this card once per turn. So you want to use it for the resources at the time, because you can make full benefit of everything else for your setup along with your Ninbird on the field and your other cards also. And lastly, for my preferred weapon of choice, I'm using 4 Wind Deity Knives, Gar Crossblade. This card is very easy to equip. You just need to pay a gauge and a life, but also having the counter skill to call out Gar Ninja tokens onto the field with this by dropping a Ninja Arts from your hand, and also protecting your Dragons on the field from being destroyed by your opponent's card effects or returned to the hand. It's that much easier of a setup. Having double attack makes for a scary attack as well, because you can attack with this card first and then set up more ninja tokens on the field. And if you have a Dragon on the field with your Nindog, being able to call over the tokens you attacked with this first and then attack with more and more tokens you set up with your Crossblade, meaning more life to gain also using all those cards all together. And I also run 4 of the new Art of Warm Pleasant Happiness. With this card, you put up to 3 of your ninja arts from your drop zone at the bottom of your deck in any order, and you choose one of the following. You can only use these skills based on how many ninja arts you call as well. So for this card's cast cost, you put a card into your gauge and gain life. So you can either gain life with this card or call out ninja clones onto the field. It's a counter skill as well. So after more and more attacks, being able to return ninja arts to your deck for you to reuse later, but also have the option for you to then either call out clones of your Dragons or set up more gauge for you to use for some of your other skills. It's a definite for sure. You're going to go through all your different ninja arts you're running, and you want more and more resources and recycle power with Pleasant Happiness for that setup after you use those cards all together. For some of the lower numbers for the ninja arts, I also run 2 ninja arts hiding in Fallen Leaves. You gain 2 life, or when this card is dropped from your hand by a card effect, you gain a life and draw a card, which you do discard a lot of ninja arts for a bunch of different cards. So whether you use it for Gar Crossblades or some of your other setup, you can either gain 2 life for that counter, which is great when your opponent may activate an impact or try to, end the game against you. So a great save there, or just the resource drop. If you need to drop a card, it'll still add that plus resource to your hand for you to use. I also run 2 Futon Sweeping Whirlwind. You put a ninja monster from your drop zone into your hand, and when this card is dropped from your hand by a card effect, put the top card of your deck in your gauge and draw a card. So unlike the life with your Fallen Leaves, it's more gauge setup, but still for the draw cost, I love that both of these still have another option card for you to go into. You don't have to rely on just the dropping. You have the option to either recycle a card or gain life with both of these also. And the 3 life from Hidden Fallen Leaves, I might have said 2, but it's 3 life. It's just an added save bonus as well. I also run 2 Art of Diversion Kunai. With this one, you pay 1 gauge and pay 1 life. You have to have a Dragon on your field, but you rest all monsters on your opponent's field. It's just a great way to stop your opponent's attacks. If they have something that, obviously, prevent them from being rested, then this card can just be discarded for the cost of another card. But it's just one of my preferred defensive tactics against my opponent altogether. And I also run 2 deity Dragon Ninja Arts, Shadow Flash Slash. You only cast this if you have a dragon on your field, and the total power is 12,000 or greater of your cards on the field. You choose and use one of the following 2 for this turn. Up to 3 cards on your field get critical +1, so that critical pressure with all your Dragon clones can definitely be scary, or you can destroy up to 2 cards on your opponent's field. You're not limited to monsters. You can even hit their set spells, or even, the combo of an item or something else they may have that's very pesky for you that you need to get around. And I also run 2 Combat Rations, Gar Rice. With this card, you only cast if you have a dragon on your field, and the total power of your cards on the field is 12,000 or greater. With the dual mode, it makes it that much easier being a 10,000 half point monster. Having this, and then just, let's say, your item, you have the 12,000 power altogether, and it's just a draw 2. And it's only once per turn, but still, it's basically like running Nice One in Katana World for the deck, which you're mostly always going to have Dragon on the field, and the 12,000 power. So this draw 2 is just that much easier to use. And I also run, for some of the one-ofs in the deck, the 1 Deity Dragon Futon Cliff Splitting Wall. It nullifies the attack, then you drop a hand card to put the top 2 cards of your deck in your gauge and draw a card, giving you more draw power especially, but just a great defensive card against your opponent. Also, the 1 Deity Dragon Futon Galeblade, returning a size 2 or less monster or spell from your opponent's field to the hand, or when it's dropped from the hand by a card effect, choosing a card in your opponent's field and paying a life and returning it to the hand. You have both options available to you depending on how you use this card. 1 Sakura Fubuki for the spell nullification against your opponent. 1 Art of Truancy, it's a set spell that protects your cards, but we have Crossblade. But just, let's say, if your opponent finds a way across the item, just having a backup for your Draw Ninjas on the field makes Art of Truancy very useful. And 1 Clear Serenity for the easy gauge buildup. It's a once per turn, but just gives you 3 gauge for free, so it's that much easier to use. And lastly, just the 1 Deity Gargantua Punisher. I'd say one of the easier, impacts for Gargantua Dragon. Just having that 12,000 power, the 2 gauge to use, is why it's so easy of an impact. You don't have to have a center clear for this card. You just need that 12,000 power. That's why I like to run 1. It's just a good way to finish off my opponent if my multiple ninja attacks couldn't do it. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. I'll definitely be building a lot of different Gargantua Dragon decks. I'm hoping to work on maybe Ultimate Garga and also, Draw Wizard as well. So look forward to deck profiles from those in the future sometime also. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.